Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Julie's Jewels. I'm here in the green room, but it's blue. Looks like it's where we hang out up in the headquarters, talk about strategy, plan stuff. It's a pretty cool place. Pretty cool place. I'm here with Julie. How you doing, Julie?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. We're getting ready for Way to Cool.
Yeah.
It's a few weeks out, and we've been talking about, we talked about the race course, and we had some race briefing, and on the YouTube channel, you got all kinds of good stuff. We talked about the course last year. We did two episodes on YouTube talking about the course. We broke it down step by step and section by section, talking about what to do. But tonight we're here with Nick from Ultra. Wanted to talk about footwear and what kind of shoes we can wear. How's it going, Nick?
Hey, very good.
Cool.
So Altra is our presenting sponsor and our official footwear sponsor of NorCal Ultras for all of our races, Way Too Cool, American River, and Rio del Lago. And correct me if I'm wrong, Nick. I think this is our fourth year.
Wow.
I think that's right.
There was like a half year somewhere. So I'm just going to round up. I'm a rounder kind of person.
Good.
So we're just
Yeah.
going to say 4 years. This is our fourth year in partnership with Ultra. And super stoked. Ultra team is amazing. And we're super lucky to have Nick and Ryan, who, if you come out to Way to Cooler, any of our races, you'll see Ryan out there, and Colby, who's back in Denver, kind of spearheading all of this. But Ultra team has been amazing, and of course, the footwear is the star of the show. So let's dig into maybe what's well. I'll let you take it. Maybe tell us what's new, what's upcoming, and maybe also recommendations for some footwear, Ultra shoes to wear on a Way to Cool course.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, Man, so the trail line, of course, would be the way to go. Um, One of my favorites is the new Lone Peak 9 that just came out. This is a beautiful sample of a color that never got made, but I got to test it out a little bit early. And the Lone Peak 9 is an awesome update, especially for anybody that's liked the Lone Peak over the years. For me, it's my favorite Lone Peak because it kind of goes back to like what the Lone Peak's supposed to be. They made some changes on the upper and some of the overlays, so it's got that nice slipper-like fit again. And then with this 9, they kind of beefed it up. So used a grippier and more durable Max Track formulation in the rubber. There's more Max Track coverage in the outsole. Uh, then they have a more, I'm covering my mouth. I hope you guys can hear me. Sorry. A more durable Ego midsole material in this version. And then they beefed up the toe cap as well. So it's
Is
like
that is that
all that,
tread? Is that a new tread on the bottom, or is that a new
uh,
tread?
it's pretty familiar to what the Lone Peak's been the last go arounds in the 7 and 8. But they've got like some more coverage in the kind of like the midfoot area, and they're always tweaking around with the chevrons and stuff. But it's a really smooth, grippy, durable, just super fun to run in. Um, Man, for way too cool though. I think if I was racing it, I'd probably use the Timp 5, which is the
Hmm.
step up in terms of cushioning from the Lone Peak, which just had a BOA version release a couple weeks ago, which is
Hmm.
pretty neat if you like the BOA and the performance there. Um, I love the BOA, but I'm also like, I think I prefer the laces. I just like being able to customize things and play around with the fit. But that shoe, I think, is probably our fastest trail shoe we've ever made, especially at that 50K distance. It's just really, really responsive. Nice. I like a nice longitudinally stiff shoe to really get some oomph out of when I'm putting power into it. It's got a really aggressive Vibram outsole, a really secure fit. Um, I've used it around on the trails up there, and like you can go through steams or streams or puddles and get it soaking wet, and the shoe doesn't get sloppy. You don't have to adjust the lacing. It just feels super good over the course of 50K or 50 miles. And yeah, it's just a super fun, confident shoe to rip in. So that would probably be my weapon of choice. Uh, Trying to think how sloppy it may be up there right now.
Well, I guess I was wondering about that because a dry course versus a wet course, would you choose a different shoe? I mean, the weather is a couple weeks out versus a dry as a bone, or just a mud course?
Yeah.
Would you go different
I
routes?
think I think the Timp is always like that shoe is always a safe bet. Um, Depending on the weight to the shoe or how much protection you need, the Superior. I've done a lot of 50Ks in the Superior, which is a step of cushioning below the Lone Peak at 21 millimeters of cushioning, and that's a little more flexible, a little more ground feel. That used to be my racing shoe when I was in the Midwest. So, but those are a lot of like really buffed out, nice pine needly type trails, not a lot of climbing, just like really smooth and flowy. So those did well there. Um, and then
Right,
if
I'm
it's,
gonna throw you a curveball, and
uh-huh.
you might have to, like, I have the Vias on,
I, I
which
mean,
on a dry course,
yeah,
I would be okay with wearing something like this shoe.
for sure.
Just because there is a lot of running on this course. And again, if it's dry, which we hope and praying that it's very dry,
Mhm.
um, and I think it, even with some of the creek crossings, it would, drain well and still
Yeah,
be, a shoe that you could get away with on a course like this. So,
totally. I know. Yeah, especially that Via. I mean, it's a super critical nitro blown TPU. It's really light, really responsive, nice little four drop. No specific rock plate, but there's a lot of protection there. And yeah, you could be do well hauling around down the trails. I know one of our athletes, Mark Hammond, he uses the Torin a lot on trail runs and stuff. It's just kind of his preference out there. But always nice, like Utah buffed out trails or Texas buffed out trails, or kind of like more stuff like the Quarry Road areas and things like
Mhm.
that. But yeah, way too cool. Doesn't get too crazy technical. So a
no.
road shoe would definitely do well. We had speaking of the Torin 8 just released a couple weeks ago, and kind of like the Lone Peak, I think this is the most Torny of Torrens. Like if you've liked the Torn in the past, you'll love this one. Um, the 7 was great. We bumped up the cushioning a little bit, but we also gave it like a pretty defined flex point in the 7, um, which was good. But I think Torn customers like that very general overall flex and forgiveness to the shoe. It's just really nice and plush. Lightened up the Ego Max slightly, and it has a nice little bouncy feel to it. High volume again towards the tips of the toes. I mean, it's just a great long distance cruiser. Still very inherently stable. It's got a new 3D molded heel counter that holds you really well. Um, like I haven't been super psyched on the Torn in quite a long time, and this one has me super psyched, especially being in that high cushion category where it seems like a lot of shoes that once were there have kind of been changing pretty significantly and trying to figure themselves out and evolving and doing interesting things. Like this Torn is at a really good spot right now where there's been a lot of space has been made around it on the wall. And it's been demoing super, super strong. So that could be a really fun one too if we have like particularly dry conditions. Um, but on the other side, if it's super, super, super wet, we re-released the King MT 2, and that would be like an online exclusive. Sadly, Fleet Feet Folsom wouldn't have that like they do the rest of our trail line. And that's our like very toothy, soft ground, muddy shoe with like a little bit of a carbon plate in there, not for propulsion or anything, or rolling over the first metatarsal phalange joint effect. It's just like there for a little bit of protection. Um, but 6 mil lugs on that thing, 13 millimeters of ego, really light and responsive. That was kind of made to be like kind of like a high alpine mountainy racing flat for specifically like 50Ks and stuff like that. So it's got a nice little Velcro strap on the top too to keep the laces in place. And it's just really fun to customize the fit there and rip in that shoe too. But yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of different things. Like you never know what you're going to find on Way Too Cool or what people are wearing. I know I I helped out at CIM this year and got to keep an eye on a lot of shoes, and that's another race. Like you never know what you're going to see. Where it's a road marathon, but there's always like a dozen people running that in the Lone Peaks and stuff like that too, where
Mm.
it's like, you guys are crazy. Like, it's fun. It's a little bit of a flex, but a road shoe would probably do a little bit better. It would help the shoe last longer, but you never know. Whatever's comfiest on your foot, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are good tips. And I did a race a couple weeks ago in Arizona, and yeah, I made a wrong shoe choice. I went too aggressive on the lugs, and I was catching too many rocks. It's kind of, you really got to think about your shoe choice because it's a lot of variety, and they have different purposes. It's, yeah, making a good shoe choice. Way to cool. If it's dry, it's like scuffy, and there's rocks, but it's mostly pretty runnable. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Oh
like
yeah.
that it's doing like a road shoe is actually, yeah, you can get, I think it'd be just fine. It'd be comfortable. But if it's muddy, I would go with something
Yeah.
else for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
And
good thing is there's lots of Altra choices to adhere to, and we know you're going to be specifically for Way to Cool at Fleet Feet Folsom on Friday, February 28th for a packet
Mhm.
pickup.
yep.
You and Ryan will be there, and will you have any shoes to demo or?
Yeah, we always roll up with a bunch of demo shoes. I tend to roll deep, so I'm not sure what I'll bring, but it'll be a good selection of our new stuff. I mean, probably Lone Peak and Timp, probably Torn and Via. Those would be some good ones to have for people to play around with, either to race in or just to wear for recovery and things like that after the race. Um, we'll also be doing we'll be at the donut run. So if
Mm,
you're coming into town and want a little early, easy 4 mile shakeout on Friday morning at 6 a.m. at
Yeah, that's true.
at Bill's Donuts.
Bill's Donuts
Yeah,
right down the street. Awesome donuts.
that's
I
right.
would go with the apple fritter there. Looks really, really good.
Mm.
They always got all kinds of good stuff. So yeah, we'll have that. Um, they've really grown that into like a really fun, consistent group. So
Well, I've seen Strava this last week. People uh, out checking the donut run course. Like it's actually been on Strava. People checking the course. I don't
oh
know.
yeah,
People are like getting ready, trying to get some donut run strategy going on. So they're doing some. My friend did a tempo run on the donut course yesterday. So
wow.
people are. It could be the donut. Way to cool is competitive, but the donut run it might be
I
competitive as
mean,
well.
Reggie needs to set that up as a segment. We need to see what kind of
yeah,
FKTs go down there.
Oh
We
yeah.
need
and
some.
it's like
Who's the king of the donut mountain?
it's like 4 to 5 miles, right? Like
It's
it's
like, yeah,
a
4 miles
short
generally.
kind of
Hmm.
Yep.
run. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I would do it just for a cinnamon roll, for
Oh man.
sure.
Right.
So, yeah,
And I think that's going to be a consistent thing before any of the NorCal Ultras races. I'll be out there at the donut run, and I know if I was racing it, that's what I like to do anyways. Like the day before my race, is like wake up nice and early, get that early morning short shakeout in, so you can stay loose and feel things out, go to pack a pickup, get a nice big breakfast, figure out your day, and then be tired enough to get to bed early and hopefully get a good night of sleep pre-race.
yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, we'll plug it on our social media. We'll get our queen Amy to promote that for the donut run, and I'm sure Reggie will be sending me information
Hmm.
shortly here. But we got a head start on it, so we'll
Nice.
flesh it out there. Yeah.
Heck yeah. And then I heard a little bird told me we may have some ultra athletes swinging by for the first time, which is really exciting. I don't know if you wanted to
Yeah.
talk about that, but
Yes, I think we can. Well, I'm going to because since Colby scripts it in an email, so we'll throw him under the bus if I get in trouble for this. But yeah,
perfect.
so Hans is coming,
Hmm.
right? And
Yes.
I believe there was somebody else,
There's
but
Kareth Arnold.
yes, yes, thank
Yeah.
you, thank you. So yes, we know for sure that those two athletes are confirmed and are coming to
Yeah.
Way to Cool. So yeah,
I'm so excited. I got to hang out with Kareth a little bit at States last year when she ran it, and she's unbelievable. And then Hans, this will be my first time meeting him in person. Um, he was all set and raring to go at Black Canyon, and then had to pull up because of a little bit of sickness. So I'm excited to see what Hans can do on this course. I think he's going to let loose pretty hard, and he's really fit right now. And I think he's going to have a lot of fun out there. So, some exciting people to watch for sure.
Mm.
For sure. Yeah, yeah. Super stoked for Hans to come to Way to Cool. So yeah, we're gonna have a good time watching the ultra athletes crush it out there and maybe go after some course records or
Mm.
you know,
That would be nice. Yeah.
you never know if it's a really
You never
dry,
know.
awesome condition day, like
Mhm.
anything can happen. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes, indeed.
All right, so we're going to see you at Fleet Feet. We'll see you at the Donut Run first, then we'll see you at Fleet Feet, and Ultra Nick never sleeps, just so you know. And then he'll be at the start line bright and early on Saturday morning, and then at the finish line at the Ultra
Mhm.
Village with Ryan. So yeah, we are again just super stoked for our partnership. Excited to have you guys once again at our events and just explore all the great footwear that keeps rolling out. So yeah. And
Heck
any
yeah.
new like secrets or like anything you can tease us with?
Oh man. Let's see. I know
Sure, you know what's happening 6 to 12 months from now down the pipeline. So
way too far. I
yeah.
mean, exciting things to look for the rest of the year. Uh, the Wild 2 comes out in May,
Mm.
and that gets a really nice upper update. That's kind of our 4-drop road trail hybrid, really comfy. That feels really good. And that's one of those situations too where it's just an upper update, but just a couple little tweaks kind of changes your whole underfoot experience. And that sample I tried on felt really, really good. The big shoe for the season is the Flow 2 in June. Um, that gets a really fun update with the new midsole compound. That's our 4-drop moderate to high cushion road neutral. Amazing upper. It looks so good. 140, that shoe's a steal. It just feels like light, bouncy, fast. It's gonna get a lot of people into the brand for sure.
Mm.
So that's exciting. Then we got like a classic update with the Paradigm 8 coming out in July, which that shoe, it kind of gets a little bit more Paradigm 6-ish, where it was a little bit more dynamic and forgiving on foot, a little softer but still really supportive. And it goes down to 160 instead of 170. So I think that's going to make a lot of people really, really happy and just like hit the industry in a good spot of just like a classic, really stable, high cushion, fun shoe to run in. I know, like the Paradigm 6, we had like neutral people coming over to that shoe just because it was like so fun to run in and just it's a dynamic stability, so it's neutral underfoot, but just provides a lot of support only when you need it with the guide rails and kind of the uh, kind of guidance systems built into the medial side of the upper and the way the shoe kind of flexes underfoot. It's a great one. So that'll be good. And then we got, I mean, a bajillion different fun prototypes going on right now. These next few years are going to be awesome. We have a new product director that just came over, and she was on another really big brands innovation team, and she's going to shake some stuff up. So we've got some fun stuff in the works already and some really fun stuff coming down the road in the future. And like, I mean, with the Olympics being in LA in 2028, we want to have some kind of fun presence there as well, if not an athlete or two in the mix. And so I can't say much, but like whatever you think that entails, there's like, it's probably already being prototyped. So
Mm.
we've, it's a good time to be a fan of Ultra and foot shape shoes.
For sure,
That's
for sure.
awesome.
Do
That's
you have
exciting.
like a cheat sheet? How do you like keep track of all these updates? And like we know you're super smart and like ultra geeked out. Like we know you know the product right and left, up and down, but I mean, there's a lot always happening in the mix. Like how do you guys like yeah, just
It's I don't know. I used to be like a really cool dude, And now I just kind of like geek out on shoes and foot physiology and mechanics and stuff. A lot of personal experimenting and stuff. I mean, I've been in the shoe game for over a decade now, which is crazy. Um, but it's just, I don't know. I like it, and I find it's a fun, easy way to help people kind of enjoy the sport that I love in ways that are like quick and easy. Like sometimes like coaching people, that's a pretty big process, but just understanding footwear and helping them get into the right shoe is like pretty easy and fun, and it just kind of sticks with me. So I don't know.
Yeah, then you pass this stuff to the coaches over here, and we're like more like therapists. So yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah. No, but I was emailing with Colby today and telling him we were gonna geek out all things. Well, Nick was gonna geek out. We were just gonna ask the questions, and so we absolutely got all the stuff out of you for what's upcoming, and so we're super excited.
So if someone was looking for to get into Altra, how would they go about, getting the right shoe? I mean, because like there's a lot of options. So you went to a lot of brands and it's a lot of things that how would I go about if I was new into Ultra or trail running or road running? How would
Yeah.
I start?
I mean, the big thing is just going into a store to try something on, playing around with sizing, but finding the shoe that's kind of equivalent in terms of cushioning to what you're currently running in successfully. If you keep the cushioning consistent, so the loads on your intrinsic foot muscles stay kind of the same as what they're already accommodated to, like it should just be a lot of fun. And the whole gist of the brand, like we came out of the back of a running store 14 years ago, like it was just making shoes that allow your feet to function and help you move in a more joint protective way, and that's kind of it. You don't have to overthink it. I see a lot of people like first timers, they really overthink it and they're like, oh, I just got an Ultra, I need to like change the way I'm running and everything. And they end up running pretty tiptoey or really 4-footy. And the whole gist of the brand was to make shoes that work with your body's preferred motion pathways. So we don't want you to overthink it. We just want you to do what you want to do,
Hmm.
like the back halves of our shoes are just like any other shoe on your wall. Like you can heel strike them if you want to. Like we just tend to put more cushioning in the forefoot to balance things out and keep it either zero or low drop, just so the shoe is more balanced on your foot and your posture does stay more aligned. So my whole tip would just be just not to overthink it and try stuff on and figure out what you like.
Yeah, and it's nice to have like the wider toe box, on all or most of
Mhm.
the Altra line, just having some room to kind of, as you run longer too, your feet swell, expand, do kind of funky things, and just really having a shoe that can kind of go with that, because you never want to be like too constricted, otherwise
Totally.
things can happen there. So
Yeah. And I,
yeah,
I
I think biomechanically it really lends itself to one of the best, if not the best, shoe out there.
yeah, like it's our founders always say, like, if it's your first time trying in an Ultra, like if it doesn't feel too big, it's probably too small.
Hmm.
Like
Right.
most people aren't used to having that room up in front of a shoe where their toes aren't being constricted, and like that's the big benefit. Most importantly, it's just more comfortable. But kind of scientifically, like your big toe is able to stay aligned with your arch where it's supposed to be, so it can properly control and support the foot. Your foot can splay, and like you get that better shock attenuation, better stability. Like when your foot is playing, like your body feels that, and like the timing on like intrinsic foot muscle firing to be able to support those loads and protect your plantar fascia are improved. And it's just your circulation's better. It's just there's a lot of good stuff that comes with having room up front and just allowing the foot to do what it wants to do. It is a magnificent piece of technology, and we just want to stay out of the way.
It's awesome.
Love it. I'm inspired. We need Colby to send us all the new stuff. Like,
No,
yeah, I mean, my V's are
Right?
getting pretty old here, so
no.
Oh
uh,
yeah. Oh, we'll have some goodies for you for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, Nick. We're looking forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks and seeing what's new out there and seeing your runners out there on the course. And it's gonna be a great day. Thanks for coming on, Nick.
Yeah, we
Heck
really
yeah.
appreciate
No,
it.
thank you guys. Always
All
fun.
right. We'll see you soon. See you
Okay.
at the donut
Yeah,
run first.
Yeah.
definitely.
Thanks, Nick.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks,
Take
Nick.
care. Good night.